Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be approximately the first half of the second trimester for me. I find it easier to lump a lot more weeks together at a time because I feel like not a whole lot happens week by week, at least at this point, and there's still not a whole lot in 1 week. So it will be approximately weeks 14 to 20. So the biggest change is the difference between the first trimester and the second trimester is monumental. I feel so much more like myself again. It's still not always exactly the way I was before I got pregnant, because I still have a few random bouts of nausea or some fatigue, but it's nowhere like it was in the first trimester. The little bit of nausea that I have sometimes is fleeting. It lasts maybe 5 to 10 minutes, whereas before it was hours or even the entire day. So it's a lot better. And the fatigue sometimes lasts a little bit longer still, but also not to the point where it was before. Like, my energy levels have more or less stabilized. So I feel like when I have the fatigue, it's either random and fleeting, or it's on days where I think like maybe baby or myself is going through a growth spurt or something. So another thing that is worth noting is I have definitely, because the nausea and fatigue are a lot better, I've been eating, or at least trying to get back to eating the way that I was before I got pregnant. So I've never really in the last couple of years done any kind of restrictive eating. That was something that I adopted a couple years ago, and it's worked really well for me. So I'm still a believer in that philosophy where I don't restrict myself. If I'm really craving something, I have it, because I think it's much more detrimental to restrict yourself. So I've just tried to be more mindful of what I'm eating, and now that I'm not grossed out by most foods, things that are more nourishing for my body, like fruits and veggies and complex carbs and healthy fats and all that stuff, don't sound unappealing anymore. So that's been a nice welcome change. I've also been getting back into exercising and trying to get more movement into my day. I was a lot more active before the first trimester. I was walking every day, sometimes 2 to 3 walks a day. Of course, it was also much nicer out at that point. Now it's the middle of winter, so as much as I still would like to be going on walks, they don't happen as often as I was before, because being pregnant and being cold just does not go well together. I feel like I've actually been more cold during this pregnancy this far than I've been hot, which I feel like, from what I'd heard, it was more common to feel like warm, like hot flashes and stuff when you're pregnant, which has not really been the case for me. I've mostly been cold, so being out in the cold just doesn't sound very good to me right now. So if it's nice enough, I will go on a walk, but I will try and substitute by doing walks around the house or housework, which can be, exercise in and of itself, depending on what it is. And then I will also do YouTube workouts, and I also have a fitness app called Love Sweat Fitness, which there's also a Instagram community and a YouTube channel as well, tied into that. And it's been something I've been a part of for, I think, going on 2 years now. And it's something I like because they're more about healthy eating and like just living a healthy lifestyle, like not so much focused on like weight loss and stuff, which is something that really I relate to. So and it's also a community of really strong and supportive women, so I just feel really comfortable posting on Instagram and reaching out and getting the support I need from them. So if you haven't heard of it, I highly recommend checking them out. And there's also another YouTube channel that I like called Jessica Smith TV, and she's got a wide range of different types of videos, from like walking workouts and to like a lot more intense, like high intensity interval training type of workouts and everything in between. And the length of time goes from like 5 minutes to I think upwards of an hour. So I really like that, because if there are just days where I feel tired or just, I don't know, not in the mood to do something, but I know that I'll feel better once I do, I'll usually start with one of her 5-minute workouts, because I know, like, mentally I can tell myself I can do 5 minutes, and then I do the 5 minutes and I'm usually feeling good afterwards, and I can usually go on to do another 5-minute one or a 10-minute one or something. So I definitely appreciate having that option. Another really big thing that happened during this part of the second trimester is that I felt baby move for the first time. The first time it happened was when I was almost 15 weeks, and I wasn't quite sure that that's what was happening when it happened. It felt weird and like nothing I've ever felt before, so I thought maybe, but you know, because I was so early on, I wasn't convinced. And then it happened again the next day and again the day after that. So by that time I was like, yeah, okay, I'm pretty sure this is baby. And I guess the only way to describe it is that it felt like something was tickling me. Oh, she's moving right now. She knows I'm talking about her. And also kind of like that nervous feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach, but that feeling was coming from inside my uterus, if that makes any sense at all. And I did have an appointment with a midwife a few days after all this happened, and I was telling her about it, and she's like, yeah, that definitely sounds like it's baby. So, and then at 17 weeks, I felt, it must have been a kick, but it wasn't. To me, it was to my bladder. It was like a little, it felt like a little flick to my bladder. So I think her movements were starting to get a little bit stronger at that point. It didn't hurt, it just felt uncomfortable. I'm sure it will get more intense as she gets stronger, but I was able to laugh at it at that point. And then at 18 weeks, that's when I started feeling a lot more movement. And like when I would go to bed at night and lay down, if I put my hands on my belly and laid really still, I could start to feel her move. And then soon after, I even started like feeling my belly move, and like it just kind of felt like her limbs were like brushing up against yeah, it was weird. And then shortly after that, felt like actual kick. Still not super strong. Like I've had a couple where they've kind of come out of nowhere and they've startled me and I've jumped, but still nothing like over the top or like painful or anything. And I'm sure once there starts to get to be less room in there, they might get more uncomfortable and even slightly painful, but for now it's been okay. But it's become kind of a nightly ritual now. One of my favorite things that I look forward to going to bed at night is feeling her move. And my husband can feel her move now, not like super strong. It's, you know, we have to both be laying still and focused on it, but both put our hands on my tummy and wait for her to start moving. So that's a nice way to unwind and get ready for sleep at night. And one thing that I try to remember to do every day, I don't always, but I definitely always remember after I shower. I think it's just because I was so used to like putting on lotion after showering. But I put on a homemade belly oil. It's one that I got from Health Nut Nutrition, and I'll link that below. The only difference is the recipe calls for blue tansy oil, and that one's kind of expensive. I don't have it yet, but I do have Valor, I think is how it's pronounced, and that has blue tansy in it, so I use that instead. I know that you can't guarantee to prevent stretch marks, but it's certainly not going to hurt, and you know, it's good for your skin and stuff, so I like doing it. I've also gotten better at spacing out my meals and my snacks. That was something that I was struggling with at first because I also eat fast. That's always been, that's just how I eat. And so it was like slowing down and kind of not eating like everything on my plate at once and like saving some for later, or serving myself a smaller portion was something that I struggled with at first, but I'm getting better, and it's kind of almost become not a choice anymore because I get so full a lot faster that if I do eat more than I should, I end up not feeling good afterwards. But now it's become like more of a habit to just do it, so that's good. We have started buying a few things for baby, mostly clothes, but that's been fun. We've also started planning her room. Actually, the room I'm sitting in will be her room. Not, you know, we haven't done a whole lot, but just kind of looking at furniture and planning out where we want to put it and what's going to work best. So we're excited about that. And I guess the last big thing is that we have the anatomy scan next week, which I have been counting down the days for a while now, because the last time we saw her on the ultrasound was I was 11 weeks, so it's been a while, and this will likely be the last one, barring any, you know, necessities that like would require us to have another one, which, you know, I always like seeing her on the ultrasound, but you know, I guess it's better if we don't need to have one. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how much she's grown and seeing her on the screen and wiggle around and stuff. She was very active on the last ultrasound that we saw, so that was really fun to see. And of course at that time I couldn't feel anything, so it was just so weird to see that much movement and not be able to feel any of that was happening. Of course, I'm a little bit nervous because, you know, this is when they could potentially find a few things, you know, the things that can be seen on an ultrasound. But I know it's not super common to find like really alarming things, so I'm just trying to keep that in mind and just focus on the excitement of getting to see her again. So I guess the last thing is, now that I actually have a bump, I can start doing bump dates. I have taken a couple of photos. I took one at 15 weeks and one at about 19 weeks, so I'll insert those. So there's not going to be a huge difference between the 19 weeks and now, because I am 20 weeks now, so there's not a ton of change. Let's do just a little bit more. There we go. So yeah, that is baby. She's starting to pop a little bit. Still not a huge belly. I mean, I'm obviously looking forward to the maternity clothes that show off the the bigger belly, but at the same time I am going to appreciate this time while I still have it, while I'm still comfortable, because I know the further along I get, the more uncomfortable I will get. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you guys at the next update. Bye.